G'day everyone. Wanted to talk to you about this system that's just been sent to me. Hollyland have asked me if I would be interested in looking at these units, which is the Mars 400S. And I have another sort of similar unit that I use, but it doesn't have some of the features that this has, and that's why I was interested in having a look at this. As people that follow me know, I do shoot weddings, and I'm often shooting weddings with just Kerry, my assistant, and we have multiple cameras. We do fusion where we're doing photography and video at the same time. So one of the things that I really love about this system is I could have a camera set up in say a corner somewhere where I can't reach it, and then I could have this, the video signal from that camera beam to me into say my phone or an iPad, and then I can also listen to the audio as well. The other system that I've got, you can't do that. It won't bring the audio through at the same time. So that's a fantastic feature with this. I could have, say, my AirPods in or something like that, or an earpiece, and then listen to the audio and make sure it is still recording and check that it's in focus and other things. I mean, other people may want to use these for things like focus pulling and stuff like that. The other thing that I want to use this for too is to set up into my studio. I have a separate studio to where my office part is, and I haven't wired that up with Ethernet. So I tested this yesterday and it worked very well. So I will be able to set this up in my studio and show live shoots straight into YouTube wirelessly. So that's also going to be fantastic as well. And I'll be showing all the features about this. So let's have a look at what's in the box with this anyway. So this is the box itself. It's really quite nice. Now inside it, there's the two units that you get. You get a receiver and a transmitter. This is the receiver, this is the transmitter. You also get this little device that sits on the bottom that will enable you to sit this onto a camera or something like that, that I'll show you soon. Very, very solid units, very, very well made. They come with these separate antennas, and you get a spare antenna as well, so that's fantastic. So if you did damage one, you could replace the antenna as well. The accessories that you get with this, you get a power adapter, so you can run that off the wall power. You also get a USB-C to USB-A adapter as well, in case if you wanted to use that in the USB-C port on this. Now one transmitter will actually get two receivers, so you can put two receivers with this system as well. But the great part about this is you can also run 4 iOS devices, so you can run say 4 iPhones off this, you could run 4 iPads, or say 2 phones and 2 iPads, and I'll show you the system working soon when I start to set this up. So it's a really nice system. The menus themselves are really good, and I'll show you that once we power it up, so we can have a look through the menu system. And they also have a great way of using this in iOS as well. There's a great app that you can use, and I think it also works on Android at the same time. Now, one of the great features about this is you can transmit the video and the audio at the same time. Like I said, other units that I've looked at, or there was one particular one that was sent to me, you couldn't listen to the audio, whereas you can listen to the audio on this. So that is a really big feature. So the range of these is 400 feet, which is 120 meters. The latency is only 0.1 seconds, so it is really quick, and I'll show you that once we get this all working. I'll just click or something like that and you'll be able to see the sort of latency that we're getting from these units. Like I said, the build quality is just superb. I mean, they really are great. You've got HDMI inputs that you can see here. There's HDMI in. This one will have the HDMI out because that's the actual receiver. You've also got SDI out if you want to go that way, if you're using one of the high-end cameras as well. There's also Type-C USB. I suppose that will be used for firmware updates and things like that, so they may be future-proofed as well. There's just a little on-off switch, and there's also a DC switch that you can use through here that I'm actually going to power from the handle that I've got from here. Now the batteries you use are just your normal Sony batteries. That will run for a few hours, so they'll just plug in as you see like that. So that's how the batteries will work. So the actual transmitter I'm going to run from this power brick that I've got attached through here, and I'll put the battery onto the receiver. Now there is a little bit of fan noise, and I'll show you that once we boot these up. If you did have this on the camera, it may become an issue because you may hear it. But if you're mic'd up like I am, and that's usually the way I'll go, I'll be mic'd up separate, or I have a boom mic or something like that, you're not going to hear it at all. But I will get close to it so you can sort of hear the fan noise that's in these units. Okay, so this test is just to see the noise that's coming off the Hollyland unit there, the transmitter. There is a slight noise now. I'll be quiet and just see if you can hear it. Now that's sitting right next to it. Now I wouldn't probably use it in that scenario. I'd have it perhaps mounted onto the handle or something like that to get it away from that. But it just gives you an idea about the slight noise that you can get if you have an onboard microphone with this right next to each other. All right, so let's turn both units on and we'll see how they find each other. So I'll switch them both on. That's the transmitter, this is the receiver. Now it will then start scanning for available channels to come up. So it'll take a couple of minutes or so to find an available channel. No channel there. Now you see it's found channel 8 as being free. And now we'll look at the menus going through both of these. So if you look at the menu system, all you have to do is to hit or hold the middle button down and you'll get to the menu system that's in there. It's very simple. There's just a couple of settings in here. There's scene mode, system settings, version info and exit. If you hit on to scene mode with the middle button, you'll get three settings here. Now image mode that it's on at the moment means that it's going to have the best image quality and latency will suffer. If you wanted to go to balance mode, you just move this down to get to the whichever one you want. Balance mode is a sort of good balance between latency and also image quality. And C is speed mode. That will your video will suffer, but you'll get much better latency. So it just depends on which setting that you'd like to use. So let me go back out of this. The system settings down here just has the language that you'd like to use. If you want to pair it to another device. And then return, obviously. Version info will tell you what settings of the firmware you're running at the moment. That will tell you that there, and then you could update it if there's a newer version that's come out. And last one is exit. So that's the transmitter. So now let's look at the receiver. All right, so this is the receiver. So if we press onto it this time, what you'll get now, the only thing really different here is that you'll get a channel scan. So if I click on the channel scan, what it will do, it's going to then scan all available channels that are free, and you'll see once this is over, you'll have some crosses, which is saying one's not available, two's fine. So you can see there's just crosses and ticks. So it tells you which channels are available. The 8's not available because that's already being used by these two units. So that's how you could pick what channel is free. Let me just get back to this to return. Down here you've got system settings. Again, it's the same as before, your language, pair and return. And version info and exit's exactly the same. So that's how the units work together. All right, so let's look at how we get this working. So I'm going to turn both units on, so Kerry can come over here. Okay, so you'll notice now that it's got channel 1, so they've found the free channels that were there, and it's 1080p 50. Now, that's what it will show as PAL here. Even though I'm shooting this at 4K, these will only go up to 1080 50p. So you can run 4K as well as using these to show the unit through your iPhone or whatever you want to set this up through. So what we'll do now is I'll show you how we can set this up into a monitor so you can see what's going on, and then we'll look at home through the app and how that all works. So I can't really show that here because we've got too much glare, so I'll show that at home, how we connect through the app and everything else. So what we'll do next, I'm going to bring up a monitor so you'll see how that connects, and then we'll go and do a walk test, which is a distance test. All right, so what you can see now is I've got this connected into the camera, so that's the transmitter. The receiver is over here. Now I've got that connected onto the Ninja V here. And what you could do, see, I could be somewhere else, like this could be a client holding this or something like that. Now you'll notice that as we move around, you can see that it's updating what I've got in my screen. Now I'll do a latency test. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to try the different modes. I'll try all three in the studio here just to see how it looks. So at the moment I'm on image mode, so this should be the best image quality, but it should have the worst latency. So now let me change the setting now to the next setting, which is balance mode. Okay, so now this is on balance mode. Okay, now let's try speed mode. Okay, so this is speed mode. But like I said, I can just move that around. You can see as I'm moving around, it's updating through this monitor, and it seems to be working really great. Now I can connect to the phones, but like I said, I'll do that when we're at home, and I'll show you how that all works through the phone and the iPad. But what we'll do now is we'll just go for a walk and we'll check what sort of range we get out of this. What we're going to do now, we're going to start walking down this long track that you can see through here. Kerry's just got the camera onto the Ninja V. Now it will be rough because I haven't got this on a gimbal, so I'm just going to start walking. So I'm just going to pace this out until we start to see dropouts. Now I'm on the one at the moment which is the best picture quality, so it's going to be interesting to see how far I can get before it starts pixelating. So I'm just going to count out the number of steps that I'm going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I'm at 20 meters now. Is that okay, Kerry? Yep. So that's all right. All right, so I'm turning around. We're going to go another 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. So that's 40. So now I'm at 40 meters. Still okay, you can see Kerry back there. Is it still refreshing nice? Okay. So now we're at 60 feet. Kerry's saying it's still okay. So I'm coming back now, 60, 60, 64, 6, 12, 16. So it's still, is it still updating okay? Okay, so just testing the refresh rate back there. So it's just starting to play up there. So that's with the low latency, which is pretty incredible when you think about it. I'll just come back and see it. Has it come back? Yeah, so it seems to cut out at that when we go to that low latency side. At the moment we're on picture quality, so I might come back and then try it on the lowest latency and see how far we can get with that. Okay, so we've got back to 80 meters and I've put it on the performance which has the most amount of latency and the picture quality suffers, but I just want to see how far we can go with this, just to see how long we'll maintain a signal for. So I am at 80 meters and I'm just going to keep going. So it's 80. You're okay for that period of that sort of distance, around 100 meters. It's fine. So it's still working okay now? Yeah, so it's fine at that distance, which is pretty incredible when you think about it. Okay, so to connect the app, what we've got to do is we actually have to scan the back of this with the app. It'll ask for this little code to be scanned. So we'll do that now with the iPad. So the app we're going to use is the Hollyview app. So if I open that up, so you'll see here that it now just says connect. So we're going to hit the connect button and then it will ask to scan that little logo at the back. It will then just come up and say join. So I'll click join. All right, now we've got access to the camera. So if I move the camera around, you'll see that it's updating here on the iPad. So I'll take it over to the bench and then I'll show you some of the things that you can do with this. Right, so some of the amazing features of this, if I just double click, that you can change your brightness, but if I double click on the screen here, you'll start to see now that I have all my controls. Now if I turn the audio up, you'll hear there is audio there. So testing, 1, 2. You can just hear it, so it is there. Now inside of here, you can record video if you want to. You can also record stills from the feed that's there. If you wanted to as well, you've got all different tools that are here. You've got waveforms. So if I adjust my exposure on the camera, you'll see that'll go up and down. So I'll do that now. So all I'm doing here is I'm just adjusting my shutter speed and you'll see the waveform is moving up and down here, which is really good. So you can see for clipping and things like that. You've got a histogram. Again, I'll change the exposure and you'll see that'll change. Again, I'm just moving the exposure and you can see here that the histogram's moving left and right. Inside here, you've got manual focus showing. So if you were on manual focus, you'll see that that will change and I'll show that now. Now you can, if you click down onto these, you can then change the color. So if you wanted to go red, white, blue, yellow, green. So these are really good if you wanted to see it in a different color that you're using. So all I'm doing here is I've turned the camera to manual and I'm just racking the focus backwards and forwards and you can see that change in the frame. You've got zebras as well if you wanted to turn those on, so you can have them on. Now if you hold down here, you can determine where you want the zebras to be So that will also change with your exposure. So you could set your zebra settings up to the figure that you wanted to show. Frame, that will give you your different framing. So if you wanted to hold that down, you can choose from all of these different options. So you've got 1.33, 178, 185, 239. So if you wanted to frame up nice and cinematic, you can. You can also change the colors here as well. On there, you can determine whether it's a cross, an SM cross, small cross, dot, or a single dot. So it's really nice features, because I often do like to shoot in 2.39, 239 aspect ratio, because it does give a really nice filmic look. Magnify, you can move this around as well. Like if you want to hold into the magnify, you can change this around as well, so it shows the thing is different. You can go medium, large, and also small as well. You can also move that to wherever you want it to go if you wanted to get critical focus. False color, again, you can do that as well. Let me just turn off this magnifier. You've got false color as well, and if you hold that down, you'll get a grid or a rating which tells you if it's 100% exposed, and all your exposure ratings coming through here as well. You've got monocolor if you do want to do it that way. Now, if you want to click in here, you can go green, blue, gray, red as well. And then you have 3D LUTs that you could load in. So at the moment you've got Canon log, C-Log, you've got S-Log2 and S-Log3 if you want to look at how it will look with logs. Now it hasn't got logs in at all because I'm just shooting with the standard profile, so these aren't going to work. So to turn your LUTs off, you just have to click it and then hold it down and then click it again and it'll turn off. So it's really quite powerful. Now if you did want to say take an image, a still image, you can click on here and then you can draw on the image as well. So, and your client will be looking at that, or your client could be having this and drawing around things, telling you what to do. You can change in here as well and choose your different size if you wanted to go larger, if you wanted to go smaller, and also if you wanted to do different colors as well. So, you know, it's really powerful. I mean, it's great to be able to have all those features. You can undo that if you want to. Just keep clicking up there and it'll eventually undo. If you wanted to take video, you can capture video. And you see that that's just capturing video. And if I wanted to press there, you can see it's played. Now, if you want to see all those, you can click into here and then you've got a menu that shows everything that you've captured, which are your stills and everything else in there as well. So that's the app. You can see here that if we're looking directly at Kerry, Kerry, can you wave up? You can see how far away she is and that's working fine. So that's pretty good. I'm probably, like I said, around 60 meters away. And I think that's as good as you can expect from something like an iPhone without using that receiver. So I think overall that's a good result. Okay, so let's summarize everything that we're looking at here. It seems to work absolutely fantastic. As you've seen in the studio, the app also is wonderful, how you can run this from iOS apps. So you don't actually have to run it from these receivers. You can actually go just to the iPhone if you want to go that way. So overall, the range is terrific. I mean, I got to over 100 meters without, you know, it dropping out. Then it did drop out. That was on the speed mode though. And the second I did go to the side, which means I lost line of sight, it did drop out. But I think overall that's a fantastic result, particularly for what I would be using it for. You know, around the 60 meter range, 50 meter range, there was no problem at all, even on the best video mode that was coming through. So that's also fantastic. They're built like tanks, really good build quality, fantastic controls, very, very easy to use. So I'll leave the link down below if you are interested in getting these. Apart from that, if you have any questions, leave those also down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and I'll see you all soon for the next video. Bye for now.